Here we go. Yeah. It's time to listen up because the show's about to get you right. Settle in cause you be tuning into what jiu-jitsu life. Getting to the nitty and gritty of what the game's about. What it's really like when you get paid to fight and train for bouts. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it on louder. About to drop some knowledge, yo, it's Dominguez, Shawn Fowler. About to give it to you straight, y'all, no filler. Pulling no punches, really couldn't get no realer. I'm a flow spiller, recognize that no one's illa. Keep it locked right on this episode because it's gonna be killer. Elite technique with the flows to get you hyped. I thought you knew with Shawn and Drew, the crew of a jiu-jitsu life.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of A Jiu-Jitsu Life. I'm your host, Shawn Fowler, along with my co-host, Drew Dominguez. What's up, man?
What's going on? What's going on, guys?
And in the FIVE365 studios today, we got none other than Mahammed Aly. What's up, man? How are you today?
I'm pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm good. How's everything going on with the quarantine? How are you holding up? What are you doing right now with the quarantine happening?
It's weird, right? I'm being a full-time dad for the first time in my life. And man, I do bikes. You know, I've been riding my bicycle. She's 3. No, she's 2. She's gonna turn 3 in November.
But that's an awesome time.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right?
She's gonna come here soon. Yeah, pretty soon.
So what have you been? Go ahead, Shawn. I'm sorry.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
shoot a
I
question.
was just gonna ask you. So what are you doing? I know you. I know last week we tried to get you on the show, but you were out bike riding for like 8-9 hours.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm riding my bike every day. I was working out at home, like lifting weights, but I got a little stiff, you know, and I didn't like that feeling. So I got back to my bike. Zebra just sent me some mats, as you can see here, you know. So I'm probably gonna start doing this like drilling sessions, you know, this week, and that's it, man.
Who you training with at home?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to find somebody. You know, I have a friend. He's a purple belt. He trains in Ribeiro's gym. Ribeiro's school. But he's gonna be like pretty big, you know, and like big enough. And I think he's gonna be the one. You know, I'm gonna text him and ask, "Hey man, do you want a drill or something?" You know.
Right.
So you guys are.
Helps.
So you guys not doing any underground training anywhere?
I'm not. Like I've been following the guidelines and everything. You know. Yeah, I do only bikes. You know, I only go out to ride my bike in the mornings, and everything else I do at home. You know.
So thinking about all the things that you've accomplished to date, you've been a part of ADCC, you've been a part of Worlds, you've been a part of so many elements and variables and got to travel the world with jiu-jitsu. What are some of your favorite places that you've had an opportunity to visit while you were out and about?
Man, it's gonna be funny, but my favorite place is Rio de Janeiro. You know, that's where I wanna go all the time. You know, that's my hometown. But if other than my hometown, I love San Diego. You know, I love Guam, man. Guam is so nice.
Guam is a lot like home, right?
Oh my God, yeah. I like Miami too. You know, looks like Rio, feels like Rio. The food is like Rio. People, you know. I like traveling a lot, but my favorite part of the traveling is coming back home, man. Like always, you know, like I like to be at home, man.
But how could you go from like the extreme hot weather you have in Brazil to the cold weather in Maryland?
It happened, man. It happened. It wasn't something that I planned about. It just happened. You know, I came here for the first time in 2014. I trained for 20 days, 25 days to Worlds, you know. And I loved the people. You know, I loved Lloyd. I loved all the team and everybody. They treat me really very, very well. And I wanted to learn English, you know. I was like, man, I have to learn that thing because like I came here 2014, I couldn't communicate. And then next time 2015 I came, I was like, man, I have to talk. I have to learn that language and everything, you know. So it was everything, the training, the people, not everything. The weather was horrible. You know, the place doesn't look good at all, but it feels nice, you know, to work, to accomplish my goals. I wanted to be like a world champion, you know, and that's where where I came, and everybody was very nice. And it happened. It wasn't something that I was like, man, one day I will live in America. I will live in the United States. A lot of Brazilians feel like that. A lot of people grow up and think, man, one day I'm gonna get the hell out of here, you know. But I never thought like that. I was like, man, I'll always stay here, you know. I'll go there, compete, but I will come back eventually. But it happened. And then 2015, I won Worlds. I talked to Lloyd, and he was like, man, let's change your visa and everything. And that's when it started, you know.
So growing up in Brazil, your father was passed away whenever you were 9 years old,
Yes,
and
sir.
you were raised by your mom after that, just by your mom, or
Yes, sir.
grandparents too as well.
Yeah, so we moved to a house, to my uncle's house, you know, and like he had his family and everything. I was living in his house for I think 6 or 7 months, you know, until we got a new apartment and everything. Yeah, man, it was basically my mom. My sister was a teenager. She was 15, and she was wild, man. She was going places, you know. She was living with my aunt for a month, and then to the other with other people for another month, you know. So it was basically me and my mom for a long time, you know.
So what year did you move to the States with Lloyd again?
What year?
Yeah.
Officially 2015.
So you've been in the States now for 5 years with Lloyd, right? Let me ask
Yes,
you
sir.
then. So whenever you moved with Lloyd, okay, and I don't know, I'm sure you understand the history of what he's done to date, but we talked to Ray yesterday as well. And Lloyd basically built the system called earned value management. Okay, he took earned value management and built it into his system. Okay, he basically created what Toyota did with their earned value management system and made Toyota great. And it took them about 20 years to do it. It's taken Lloyd about that too, right? But Lloyd is producing every kind of world champion that you could possibly imagine now with all of his guys, right?
Yes,
What
sir.
was it like to make that transition to come here and jump in? You already had a tremendous work ethic. How much harder did Lloyd push you, or was it already there?
I think he's a very good person to read your characteristics, you know. So he's gonna look at you, see you training and what you do. He's gonna identify your weak and strong parts, and he's gonna work through that, you know. um at first, when I first came here, he was with his protocols, you know, but I looking back, he wasn't really trying to get me to work more. He was just trying to see my commitment, you know. And he's a great person to do that. He's gonna see what you are capable of doing, and then he's gonna explore that, you know. I think good leaders, they usually are good, like they are usually good at reading people. You know, they're gonna look at you and
Agreed.
read you and see how you work, how you know, how you I forgot the word, but how you work, how you oh my god, operate,
Right.
right?
And how you're going to operate under pressure. You know what I mean? And are you
Perfect.
going to be able to reach your full potential or not? Correct?
Perfect. And when I first came here, I remember I won worlds as purple. We didn't talk much, of course, because I couldn't understand it much. But we had good conversations. But 2015, when I came, he was like, "Man, I think you didn't even reach your like 40% of your potential yet. You know, because you're just there having fun. You're not really trying to win. You're just trying to have fun and everything." And that was kind of problem for me because I don't know. I was just having too much fun, you know, like training, traveling, and because everything that I was doing, man. If you think about it, if I think about it, looking back, everything that I was doing 2015 was conceptually impossible. Like it was impossible for me to get a visa. You know, it was impossible for me to get a passport, travel. You know, all these things was impossible. Like winning tournaments, Like, man, come on, you're gonna am I gonna win worlds one day? Oh my god, I would laugh if you told me that, you know. So because maybe because I knew that, I didn't have any pressure. I was like, man, I made it, you know, like it's already impossible. What I'm doing right now as purple belt is already impossible for 100% of my friends, like people who grew up with me. It was impossible. So because I was just having fun, I wasn't really focused on winning. My thing was, man, I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna have fun. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. You know, I wasn't that guy that dreamed about being the bad. I don't even think I am like that until this day. But I see that he was the guy who said, man, okay, that you're here, but now you have the opportunity to change your life and your family's life forever, you know, and you don't want to be playing around that much, you know. And I think that was very valuable because I could understand. I was like, man, that's true, you know. And he's very special, man. Like a lot of people don't know, as you said, like a lot of people don't know what he does and what he did and the seeds that he's planting. But he's special, man. He's gonna look at you and identify that, like what the good and bad points about you, because we all have weak parts and strong parts, you know. And he's gonna be the one that's gonna identify and be a great mentor. You know, it's not just jiu-jitsu, because a lot of people can be good at jiu-jitsu, you know, but regardless, like we have a lot of people here that they don't even compete, but they look at him in the same way, you know, because they feel that they got developed by his system just by being around him, and that changed their lives. You know, they live better now because some stuff that they learned or they could see from him, you know.
I
So
think
he's very, very special, man.
I agree with you in a lot of ways, and I have text messages. I text with Lloyd often, and I take a lot of value from Lloyd because Lloyd is very, very intelligent, regardless of what people have said about him in the past or anything like that. The truth of the matter is that Lloyd is brilliant, and Lloyd sees something in you guys as in your potential. Not only that, but he also teaches you guys how to build your brand, how to build you, how to make an effort and be able. Hi, baby. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Hi. What are you doing?
O que você quer, filho?
Yeah.
Não, 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 não é teu. Aqui, ó. Vai lá. You can go ahead. I'm listening,
Don't
man.
eat it. Just don't eat them, okay?
I'm listening, man.
No, but I think he's brilliant in the fact that he's able to teach you guys how to build your own brand too. You know, the Mahammed Aly brand. And that brand allows you guys to, and he teaches you guys how to make money from multiple revenue streams and so on and so forth. If you pay attention to him, he has a lot to offer. You know what I mean? And he can help you guys take shortcuts that he took years to learn. You know what I mean? And save you guys some time. And what I like about it is that so many of you guys have been able to effectively live off of jiu-jitsu. You know, you, Tim, DJ, Array, Nyla, everybody has put in their time or their parts, and they all have something amazing to speak upon about it or for it. And man, you guys, the sky's the limit for you guys.
And the funny part is that everybody's different, right? Like I'm very different from Tim, you know, like my personality is very different from him, but it can still work, you know, like you can be you should be yourself and make things work. You know, you don't have to be anybody else to be valuable or to, you know, just make your money, you know, because you're going to have somebody who's going to relate to you regardless of who you are, you know.
100%.
So you have a YouTube page. It's mostly in Portuguese. Is that where you do a lot of your marketing?
Actually, it wasn't a marketing thing, and it wasn't a money thing. It wasn't anything like that. It was just me, because I said before, like I didn't want to move to America. You know, I wanted to be useful in my community in Brazil to help people, you know, because I was like, man, if I can make it happen, if I can come to America, maybe other kids can do the same too. And in my mind, I was like, man, maybe one day I can be that bridge, you know, that can help other kids to do the same. But then I blinked and I was living here, you know, and that's when I realized, man, if I if I won't be there, I have to find a way to help these people, you know. And that's when I started doing videos for my friends at first. And then I was like, man, that's how I do it here. That's the difference between Brazil and America. And that's basically what I was telling people. And then I realized that my friends, they didn't listen what I was saying, you know. But there was somebody watching, you know, and at first it was like 50 people watching. And then I was imagining, man, imagine 50 people in my room listening to what I'm saying. And then 50 became 100, then became 500, and then became 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, you know. And that just blew my mind because, man, I'm just trying to help, you know. And then one day, eventually, I lost motivation because I was like, man, I'm doing all this work, you know, I'm sacrificing all this time and everything. And people treat me as they pay me, but they're not really paying me to, you know, do the content and everything. And I didn't understand. Like, I didn't even talk to Lloyd back a lot about that back in the day. It was just my feeling. And then he came to me and said, man, okay, that you're doing stuff. At least you're learning a skill, you know, which is talking to a camera and everything. But now you need a product, man. Like, you have to think about something. And in my mind, I was like, man, Brazilians won't pay me to, you know, to learn. Because that's why everybody says, right? Like, no, you should sell to Americans, or because Brazilians don't have money to pay. But then Lloyd told me, he was the one who told me, he was like, man, you have 100,000 people over there. If you don't try anything there, you're being just fool.
Especially whenever it's your home roots.
You know, like just try to do something. And then I tried something, man. And the first product that I launched, I only did one. And I made, let's say, in reais, is like 160,000 reais, which is back in the day was like $35,000,
Right.
you know. And I made this in a week, you know. And then I got scared and closed the cart. I was like, no, I'm not gonna let nobody buy anymore, because I was selling like $100 product in Brazil, which is a lot of money. Most people will live off $250 in a month, and I was selling $100 product, and 300 people bought it. Like 320 people bought it. And in my mind, it was like, oh my God, you know, so many people. And then all the, like, more people buy, more and more people buy. And then I got scared. I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to help all these people, you know. And then we talked. I talked to him and everything. And he was always giving me advices, you know. And then I was like, okay, man, now it's time for you to start, like, doing here and something. Because eventually you want to teach here. You eventually want to have your gym. So maybe if you already start growing your American or English speakers audience, is going to be a good thing for you. And then I started. I did a couple of videos. I think I did like 6 videos, and then I stopped, you know, because I was training and doing a lot of stuff. And then she was born, you know, and then she was 1, 2, and 3, and then I just started procrastinating. You know, that's the truth. But I was doing pretty good in Brazil that I didn't feel that I needed to do. But the funny thing was, as soon as I released my product, man, and I started talking about this, all Brazilians, they got back to Portuguese, you know. And like everybody now is doing Portuguese now, you know, back, because at some point nobody was even speaking to Brazilians.
Correct.
And then eventually like now you watch the lives, all Brazilians are speaking Portuguese, you know, they all, and that made me super happy, you know. That made me proud, because Brazilians at some point, they felt that people didn't care about them, you know. Jiu-jitsu,
It might have, you know, and I hate to say it, but maybe the thought process is, and you know, you're a younger guy, so you're showing them a different element, right? You got to remember, a lot of the Brazilians that came to the States are they're really old school guys, right? And so
Perfect.
Video stuff like, okay, I'll give you a prime example. Bruno Ewald, you know who Bruno is?
Mm-mm.
And Hunter Ewald, they're out of Kauai. They used to have Gracie Humaita, and I'm pretty sure it's Gracie Humaita still over there. But anyway, Bruno is Brazilian. And I was on a video call with him the other day with Shoyoroll, and he was talking about the fact that everybody was doing these Zoom classes, and he's an old school guy. He's never done anything like that. And he said, man, I don't know how you guys would do it. Like, it's not anything I've ever thought about, but you guys, you might be right. Like, maybe it's time for me to change my mindset. And the fact that you're a younger guy, you might have opened up the communication channels, or basically what you did was you opened up the floodgates and the communication channels for people to understand that a lot of people were leaving Brazil trying to leave Brazil behind. You know what I mean? They come to the States and they're trying to leave it behind because they want a better life, right? It's just like the people that come from Mexico or from South America, you know, they're coming to the States to try to make a better life, but then they forget that their roots are still back there. And they can actually, by speaking to people, help so many people there, but they're forgetting that they're in the States, you know what I mean? And they have that ability to reach out, to reach that, you know, that audience. But I think now with the older guys are starting to see what you're talking about. And so by speaking Portuguese back to them, they're forgetting about an audience over there that they actually had that are still following them.
Yeah, and that's awesome, you know, and I feel very happy because I see, like, just like you said, like a lot of old school people now they're doing videos and they feel fine about it because they have a lot of limitations. English is one.
Agreed.
Talking in front of the camera is another one. And if you don't have, if you cut one, like now you can do something that is hard for you, but you can do in Portuguese. So they are like, oh, okay, that feels better, you know. And then they see the comments of people that they know for a long time talking Portuguese too, and they feel excited, you know. And eventually, because they're gonna feel comfortable in front of the camera, they're gonna be doing better videos in English too, you know. So I think everybody wins, you know, and now that makes me very happy. But in the other hand, I'm like, okay, so now since everybody's doing Portuguese, I think now I can do English more because Brazilians are fine, you know. So in my mind, it's like, okay, so now it's even better. But other people can look at it, and feel, oh my God, it's bad because now everybody's doing. I can lose a little space. But no, it's actually better. Like the more people doing, the more good content, the more everything, the better for everybody, you know. And that's what I feel. And one time talking to City Emma, we had a little issue with flow grappling, right? And like everybody, like all the athletes was talking bad about flow grappling and everything. And then I didn't want to get in front of the camera and say, like, people was asking me, like a lot of world champions, they're like, man, go to your YouTube channel and start talking shit about flow grappling. I was like, no, man, I'm not going to do this. You won 9 world championships. You know, I won 1. I won't do that against, you know, flow grappling. And then I called Fabio Gurgel. I was like, man, did you ask Fabio Gurgel what he thinks about this? And the guy's like, no. I was like, man, you gotta ask Fabio Gurgel. You gotta ask André Galvão.
All people, yeah. Fabio or Cavalcante or
you gotta ask them, you know, the powerful people. You know, if you have like Carlinhos Gracie phone, you call him and ask what he thinks because he's probably gonna know the answer. Just like me, I'll call Lloyd every problem that I have because he knows everything. And then I called Fabio, man. And Fabio was like, man, no, that's bad. Like every time you separate,
Fabio and Jacare do not like conflict.
Every time you separate a community that's already small, you create problems. You know, it's bad for everybody. It's bad for you. It's bad for me. And then eventually I got in touch with City Emma. And he was like, you know City Emma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, man, the main goal at the end of the day, I want every gym to double their size next year. So if a gym has 100 students and next year they have 200 students, man, your sponsor is going to sell more gis. You're going to sell more DVDs. I'm going to have more people fighting at BJJF. You know, jiu-jitsu is going to be bigger. Like everybody wins. Like we want more people training, period. You know, and that was great for me because, oh my God, now I can understand, like the more people doing a good job.
Bigger picture, right? It's bigger than video.
Yeah, right? Yeah. You know, like the more people doing a good job, the better for me. You know, so that's why every time, man, an athlete comes to me and say, man, I want to do YouTube. Like I was talking to Jackson Souza 2 or 3 days ago. He was like, man, which camera should I get? Blah, 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 blah. I was like, man, you don't need no camera. You're never going to be Case Neistat. You know, but you're gonna be a good Jackson Souza, and people are gonna watch you because of you, not because of the great video quality or audio quality or anything. Just make sure you're out there, and as soon as you do that, you're gonna realize what you need. You know, your needs are gonna come after. And I feel very good about it. Like the more people do a great job, man, the better it's for the sport. You know.
So you're making your living full time off jiu-jitsu, correct?
Yes, sir.
What? When did you realize, or what moment did you come across where you're like, oh, I could do this. I could make this a full time job.
Yeah, that's a funny question because back home, I didn't have much. I remember my first brand new gi. I was almost getting my purple belt when I had a brand new gi, you know, for the first time. Every single gi that I had was given me from somebody else. And I wouldn't have money to pay the bus to go to the gym. So I would have to get somebody's bicycle to ride to the gym, which would be like 10, 15 miles, you know. So for me, the idea that I had about money was different from most people, you know. So I didn't understand any different than that. So in my mind, it wasn't really the money, and money was different than that it is now. And in 10 years, money is going to be different. Like when I think about money today, is different than the way I thought 10 years ago. So in my mind, I just wanted to do jujitsu for the rest of my life. That's because that was the only thing that I loved. I was like, oh, that's her. I was like, man, I wanna do this thing regardless. You know, if I need another job, if I need something, that's fine. You know, I just want to be able to do this. And I was doing this. I was working. I was, you know, doing all extra stuff that I needed to, you know, just to. It wasn't a dream because I didn't think about being an athlete or being a world champion or being anything. I was just trying to do that thing, learn that thing, you know,
Right.
and maybe one day be a black belt. So when I came here and I understood, man, like America, you know, getting a car, like oh my God, man, when I was 20 years old, I got my first car, and that was in my mind, that was a big deal, you know. That
Of course it
my
is.
God, man,
It's
I got a
huge.
yeah, I was like, man, I got a car, you know, like doing this thing that I love, you know, and it was progressive, you know, but the first time it really hit me was when she was born. You know, when my baby was born, in one hand I was like, man, she's American, you know, she's gonna be fine. She was born in America. But in the other hand, I was like, okay, but she doesn't have to go through everything that I went through. That's not being a dad. You know, being a dad is making sure that your kids are gonna be better than you were. And that's when I really started to, oh my God, you know, I have to understand something. I have to figure something out. You know, and that's when I came with the first product. You know, that's when I was like, man, I have to think about something. I have to talk with people. And that's when Lloyd started giving me books to read and stuff like that. Because at first I didn't really care. I was like, man, I made it. You know, I was making maybe when she was born, I don't know, maybe like $2,000 or $3,000 in sponsors. You know, and I was happy. You know, I was like, man, you know, so that's how it started. But living off jiu-jitsu, it started when I went to Team Nogueira, and I was basically at the gym. I didn't make any money, but they paid the rent for the athletes. They paid the expenses, you know, to train, and that
Right.
was the first experience being an athlete. You know, oh my God, I don't have money, but I can train. I have gear. I have food. You know, and I have transportation. So that was the first time. 2012, I think.
And when that was out in Miami.
No, that was in Rio. That was in Rio.
Okay.
Team Nogueira with Nogueira's brothers. Back in the day, I wanted to be an MMA fighter. You know.
Okay, well, that leads me into the next question. So
Uh,
you're a big dude. So you're actually obviously training with the Nogueira brothers, getting them ready for their
yeah,
fights, correct?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, if I remember correct, you said before that back then you wanted to be an MMA fighter,
That was my thing. Yeah. Uh-huh.
but you also at the same time saw other people have success in jiu-jitsu that were just as big as you, as far as the
Yeah,
size.
my thing wasn't about what other people got. It was more like, okay, historically saying, like most people have success fighting MMA. You know, most people do good doing MMA, right, and not jiu-jitsu. And in my mind,
Oh, she's sleepy, huh?
Sleepy, yep.
yeah.
That's a wrap. Just start rocking her. Hi, baby. What are you doing?
And in my mind, it was more like, okay, so my way out to be an athlete is gonna be being a MMA fighter. You know, I wasn't really thinking about what I really loved, but
Right.
my love was jiu-jitsu. Like jiu-jitsu was what I fell in love with. You know, but let me just switch the audio. Let me put on the speakers. Uh, yeah, so that was my thing. Like I was like, okay, I love jiu-jitsu, but I think MMA is an easier way to be an athlete or something. And that's when I decided to be an MMA fighter. But it wasn't because I loved MMA. I liked it. You know, I like to be around the famous guys, you know, Nogueira Brothers, Anderson Silva, Junior dos Santos, all them. And I liked their lifestyle. You know, they had nice cars, they had everything, you know. But in the other hand, man, I could see like Minotaur, man, the guy can barely walk. He's
Yeah.
gonna be, you know, of course now he's doing better, he's treating himself better, but it was crazy, you know. So in my mind, I was like, man, I think my way out is gonna be MMA. But then eventually I understood that in America, jiu-jitsu is different. And now it's getting good in Brazil too. So it was just fine because Nogueira didn't let me fight MMA. That's what happened. He was like, man, I was like 200 pounds already. I was 17 years old. And he was like, man, you're big, but you're still a kid. You know, go fight MMA, go fight jiu-jitsu, man, a little bit. Because if you want to do MMA now, you're too young and people are too strong for you. You know, let me give her something, man. One second.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. What's wrong with your mic stand?
I'm just trying to adjust it.
You don't want to get that Anton look, huh?
Oh, no, not at all.
I sent him a text message, told him to jump in real quick, but he says he's dealing with some stuff.
Hey, did you ever finally buy a bike?
No, actually, I went looking for it, Adam, today, as a matter of fact.
Are you gonna buy like the one that I have type deal?
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy anything fancy, man.
Well, whenever I bought mine was only 500.
Yeah,
But
I don't want to pay anything over that.
Yeah, no. I wasn't gonna spend over 500 either, and I paid
That's
500
ridiculous.
from the Bicycle Warehouse.
Actually, that's I was looking online. They're closed today, but the Trek store was open right here in Bonita.
Oh, did you go to Trek?
Yeah, they're
What did they
expensive.
have?
Expensive stuff.
Yeah, Trek is up there, and I have a Trek too, but it's expensive, man.
$750 on up. I'm looking for just a simple Diamondback.
Yeah.
They have some Diamondbacks on sale for like $350, which are not bad. I just want a front suspension. I don't need a full suspension. I just want a front suspension with disc brakes. That's all.
Right.
I think a full suspension just to my old bike. My old Mongoose was a full suspension. Anything going uphill would just the whole full suspension would just give as you're trying to accelerate.
Right. And that's sometimes hard, man. Whenever it gives too much, it's like some of them they sink too much, and that's too much.
Oh yeah.
I'm back.
Yep. Can you hear us?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So yeah, I was saying that that's what I was. Oh my god. She's a little bit jealous, you know. because she sees that I'm talking to somebody that's not her, and she's like, okay, I want their attention now. But if I hang out the phone, she's
You're not
not
gonna
gonna
pay
care about
attention
me
to you at
anymore.
all.
You know. But yeah, I was saying that with MMA, it was more like, man, I think I'll have more opportunities fighting MMA than I'll have with jiu-jitsu. But eventually when I got here, and then they didn't let me fight, I was like, okay, let me do a little jiu-jitsu. And Charles Oliveira was the guy who was my inspiration at first, because he won Purple Belt Worlds. And then he went to MMA and he did great. He's actually still doing great, you know.
Yep.
And then I was like, man, I'm gonna win Worlds as Purple Belt, and then I do MMA, you know. So I won Purple Belt Worlds 2014, and I was like, man, I think I can win Brown, you know. In 2015, I won double gold at Brown Belt, and I was like, man, I think I can win Black Belt Worlds, you know. And it never stopped, you know. I won Worlds in Black
That's
Belt. I was like,
addiction, right?
man, I think I want to do the absolute, you know. I think I want to win the open weight. And now, man, I'm in love with jiu-jitsu. You know, I like sparring. I like training MMA as much as I like training jiu-jitsu. But the career itself is stressful, man. You have to be talking shit about other people. You have to be going against the martial arts principles, you know. And I don't like that. I mean, you can do different, but it's not gonna be great for you, you know, if you don't play the game.
Oh no, it's and you know, Drew and I have talked about this over the years, and what you may or may not know, I was very involved with MMA in the beginning too. In early '99, 2002, we started Total Combat. Lloyd can give you the history on this because Eric, you know, Coach Eric. Okay, Coach Eric, and I were partners in Total Combat. So I would do matchmaking and stuff like that for all the guys, and you know, we did MMA for a long time. But the truth of the matter is that, and Southern California was saturated with MMA gyms, man. They were everywhere. But over the last 10 years, they've all dissolved. There's only 2 MMA gyms left in San Diego, you know what I mean? And there were 50 of them before, you know what I'm saying? So now it's down to basically just jiu-jitsu schools now. That's it. You know, or Muay Thai a specialty or whatever the case may be. But most schools, they're teaching Muay Thai inside their jiu-jitsu schools because MMA is just kind of stagnant. You know, it's died a lot, and it's just, you don't find schools like the specialty for training MMA is limited to only a few legitimate camps across the United States.
100%. And you're gonna, like, as a practitioner, you're gonna train striking for 3 or 4 months, and it's gonna be great. And then it's gonna, okay, so now if I want to get better, I have to start getting punched. Or, you know, I have to, like, some things that I have to go through to become good are not fun, you know. And I can do both with my job, my family, and everything. Is bad. It's kind of bad for most people, you know. And jiu-jitsu, you can live and train just as the professionals train, and you're not gonna necessarily get hurt to do that.
Right.
So with jiu-jitsu, you can do 10 years, and every single day you're gonna learn something new. And striking is kind of different. You're not gonna necessarily learn a lot after 3 or 4 months. You know, it's gonna be the same over and over. Of course, there are levels, but for jiu-jitsu is more fun and gentle in your body and everything, you know, and in your mind too. It's not like striking is usually stressful. Go, 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 like wrestling. In jiu-jitsu, no, it's wrestling. In jiu-jitsu, it's like, man, take care, you know, take your time and everything. And there is a sense of community too in jiu-jitsu.
Well, not only that, but it's a lot easier on your body long-term and even short-term. MMA guys, man, you can't stay ready to fight in that element for 5 years straight because your body is going to break down and fall apart at some point in time. 5 years straight of training at that high level, you know, that's why football players only play so many games a season. Baseball players only play so many games a season. You know what I mean? Otherwise, because you can just not stay ready all the time. You need some rest and a break in between there.
100%.
To not train and not to train at 150%, you know, elements at all the time.
Yeah, you said a little while ago how much you fell in love with jiu-jitsu. You started, purple belt, brown belt, and I can win a black belt. You won a black belt, open weight. You just had an open weight match with a guy named Mikey. What was your thought going into that with the size difference? I know his skill level is just as good as yours, but it was like the Goliath versus the how does it go, the giant versus the
No,
little.
he's better, man. He's better. No, what I think was going to that match was like you can only lose fighting Mikey Musumeci. As a big guy, world champion too, you can only lose. Even if you win, you lose. You know, you can only lose because first, everybody loves him. That's first. Like we all love Mikey Musumeci. Second, we all want to see the little guy beating the big guy, because that's what we believe. That's
What
jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah, and I knew that you can only lose that match. So let's say if I go there, I'm not saying that I could do that, but I'm saying that let's say if I go there and hurt him or something, now people are gonna be, oh my God, man, Mahammed is a dick. Oh my God, Mahammed. It's not gonna be like, oh my God, what cool. Like, oh my God, that's so cool. Mahammed kicked his ass. No, it's not cool. He's a dick. Like that's you being a dick. And if I go there and lose, oh my God. If it takes my back or something. So the pressure is all on me. So in my mind, my game plan was, man, I just want to win. Like I don't want to pass his guard necessarily. I don't want to tap him out. Like I want to win, especially because I'm not here to beat Michael Musumeci. I'm here to win the tournament, and that's the biggest thing about jiu-jitsu. Like a lot of times, you can beat a world champion in your bracket, but if you lose the next match, you lost the tournament. Like you're not gonna become a world champion just because you beat a world champion. It doesn't happen like that. And I see a lot of guys, they do like that in jiu-jitsu. Just because they beat a good guy,
In
they
the
think
lower part of the bracket.
yeah, they assume they already there. That's not true. Like if you beat Buchecha tomorrow, you're not gonna be Guinness book. You know, that's the only Guinness book in jiu-jitsu. So I knew that, and in my mind, I was like, man, I just want to win. I would double pull. I knew he would pull guard. And I knew I would not be able to throw him or double leg. I knew that. Like, man, you cannot double leg a guy
Too
that's
small.
yeah, And I was like, man, I'm just gonna double pull, get my advantage, and then he's gonna make mistakes and I'll eventually pass his guard or something. I didn't think about taking his back, because it's kind of tricky to little and everything. But I thought I would eventually pass his guard, and do something. And then at the first 30 seconds, I double pull, and I was able to pass his guard pretty fast. I got chest to chest, got advantage. And then I was like, man, I didn't expect to be able to, toreando his guard that easy. But he had a tough match with Safe in the match before. So that was the whole thing. And then as soon as I got two advantages, I was like, man, I'll just stay here. How many feet? I was like, I'll just stay here. I won't do much. Que isso? Que é isso, hein? Parem. Toma isso aqui.
Is that a lint roller?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's yeah. I was thinking about giving her a pen, but that's not a good idea.
And the walls will be all black.
Yeah. And then as soon as I got two advantages, I was like, man, I think I can stay here for a long time, And then eventually we went to 50-50. I was like, man, I can let him sweep me because it's going to be easy for me to sweep back, from the 50-50. And also, if he's on top on the 50-50, it's easier for me to control his hips and everything. Because I was, at all times I was thinking, man, this guy can, at any moment, take my back. At any moment, at anything that I do wrong, he can take my back. And that actually happened. He did something illegal. And then I look into the referee to complain. When I look back, he wasn't there anymore. He was almost here, and it was fun, man, to fight him. Very interesting the guy makes grips with his feet, man. And I wasn't used to that. You know, I didn't experience that before. So it was fun, man. It was fun. You know, good match.
Yeah, and another match we saw you last year at ADCC. You know, the rule set's completely different from regular jiu-jitsu tournament. And there's a couple matches. A lot of people think the judges had it wrong. How did you feel about the judging, and how do you feel about the rule set for ADCC?
Yeah, ADCC is ADCC. You know, you can't expect to go to ADCC and feel like IBJJF. It's not the same thing. It's not the same rules. Like we all know how ADCC works. You know, like if you be on this thing for longer, you understand that ADCC is very different. You know, about the referees, I didn't get upset with the referees at all. I just didn't understand some stuff, you know, and I saw differently from them, you know. But as a fighter, man, you don't want to leave on the referee's hands, you know, to decide your life. You know, you have to decide your life in there. But in the high level, like me, I fought Nicky Rod first round, which was like he's supposed to be way better wrestler than we all are, you know. But in my mind, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna pull this guy. I'm not gonna pull guard on this guy, you know. And it was pretty fun, you know. I was able to throw him a couple of times, and conceptually, they should not. How can I say? If they stop the match on the outside, they should put you back on the same thing. And I don't want to discuss this, but sometimes I was able to throw him out of the bounds, you know, and had a good position, like seatbelt and that kind of stuff. And then when you come back to the middle, it's not the same situation, it's not the same thing. And you're not allowed to talk to the referee, you know, and those kind of things are a little tricky. And I think it's not hard to fix, you know. It's just like, hey, man, just talk to the referees a little bit. You know, just have referees being referees, you know, because I think ADCC's refs, they are not really refs. They I don't know. You know, we have people.
Do you feel that they have favorites?
Man, I think they do, but I think we all do. You know, we all have favorites, and that's normal. That's cool, you know. But my only problem is that, man, like, let's just understand the rules, you know, and have refs being refs. Like, we have people that are refs for 50 events in a year. And then you get a guy who's going to ref once every next year. Like, that's going to be tricky, especially in the highest level of the sport, you know. And I don't know, man. I just think that if we have people who are refs, because if you think about it, people who refs every weekend, they make mistakes, even though they are there.
And
like
refs that only ref once a year,
Yeah.
every other year, barely. How do you stay on top of it and stay on
That's
your
what I'm
best game?
saying. You know, like, I'm a ref. I'm a BJJF referee. And I understand how hard it is, especially for little guys. If you're refereeing like a little guys match, oh my God, it's very fast. Everything happens very fast.
And no-gi, watching no-gi matches,
Oh my
I
God.
love reffing gi, man. Gi is so much easier to pay attention to, but whenever I ref no-gi, man,
Plus,
man, it's hard.
plus, you're doing this 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You know, it's stressful. So I think they should pay a little more attention to that. You know, like, some guys, they first don't train jiu-jitsu, and that's already bad enough. Second, they don't ref that much. You know, so I think that that's gonna be bad, man. Like, that there are matches that happened that are exact the same situation, but they're gonna score differently, you know. And for the athlete point of view, that's bad, man. Like, if you, man, training, like, when I was training for ADCC, I left her here, my daughter, for 30 days. I was in Miami training, you know, and like, you don't want to be away from your kids for 30 days and then somebody decide your life just because they think so, you know. And that's my thing. Like, man, if you want to do something, just do that all the time. You know, like I was having that conversation with a referee the other day because, man, the same exact situation happened twice, and the guy scored differently from every single situation. He scored differently, and the team that got benefit from this thing was the same team. You know, so now the guy has this patch on his back, and then he does this and he wins. And then the next match, another guy do the same thing and loses. You know, and in my mind, it's like, man, we train hard. Like, I respect the referees. You know, I expect them to respect we all the same way. You know, and yeah, man, that's all. That's how I think. But ADCC is great. Yeah, that's her balloon.
You know, you mentioned you were out in Miami for training camp. Was it
Yeah.
because they had bigger guys out there that would work better for you?
Yeah, bigger guys, they are better with no gi. You know, like now I'm in a point where, man, I will assume and respect some stuff. Like, let's say if I want to talk about lapel guard, I'll ask Keenan. But if I'm fighting against Keenan, I'm gonna ask somebody who knows more than me. You know, I will not expect to know everything. Like, I don't know everything. You know, but some stuff I know, and I trust myself to get ready. You know, like Nicky Rod. I watch him, and then I was like, man, this guy is very, very athletic, pretty athletic. He knows wrestling, of course, but with the ADCC rules, I think I can take him down. You know, and I shoot my shot. But you know, but if I'm fighting no gi, ADCC with heel hooks and everything, and we here don't do that much. I was like, man, we're not good at this. We're good, but we're not we're not the best, you know. So we have to talk to people and everything. And I talked to Lloyd, and he was like, man, I think you should go to Cyborgs, you know. Even though he was in my division, I was like, man, I think it's gonna be a good thing because I like Cyborg, you know, I like Patrick Gaudio and all them in fight sports. And then I went there, and it was super fun. You know, I learned a lot, you know.
So 2021, what will you do different as far as training goes in preparation for ADCC 2021?
I don't know. Because I don't live my life thinking about ADCC. That's the truth.
Okay.
You know, if I did, I would already be training, you know, and learning and developing like skills to be good at Nogi and everything. But that's not what I do. Like I want to be a world champion all the time. And of course, like by being world champion, by winning IBJJF tournaments, you kind of ready to win anything. You know, you just have to adjust some stuff, and you can win. But I don't know, man. I think again, I'll have to find like a good place to train, learn more about like leg attacks and everything, and start training wrestling earlier. You know, because wrestling is a big thing. And yeah, man, that's it. You know, it was just a bad tournament. You know, like everything was great. I did everything great, man. Like my preparation, everything. I don't have any regret. If I tell you, oh my God, I did this wrong, I would be lying. I did everything right. You know. So there was somebody who was just as good as me. You know, and they, you know, was able to do better. You know, that was it.
Yeah, I have one more last question for you. With Flow Grappling, one of their tournament or a couple of their past tournaments before this whole lockdown happened, you're doing some on the mat interviews,
Yeah.
matches.
Uh-huh.
Talk to us about that. Is that something you asked for? Is that something they asked you to do, or did you feel comfortable going into it?
No, so remember when I said we had problems with flow grappling?
Uh-huh.
We had not problems with flow grappling. We had miscommunication. You know, the athletes, they want something, but they don't tell anybody that what they want. And if something that's bad they don't agree with, they won't call the person and say, hey man, like, why is that? Can you explain me why you, because I don't agree with that, you know? Most people don't do that. They're gonna talk shit about you, but they will never ask you why you did that or try to understand why you did something. And in my point of view, I first called Fabio Gurgel. Eventually, I talked to Siriema, and then I had a meeting with flow grappling people. You know, we all like it was me, Buchecha, Leozinho, Siriema, IBJJF people, flow grappling people, and some athletes, you know, and coaches and everything. And then in the conversation, we just talk, man. We all talk, like flow grappling talk, IBJJF talk, athletes talk. We all talk. And then at the end of the conversation, we're like, okay, so that's what we're going to do next, right? In the next 30 days, that's what we're doing. And then, okay, I start talking. So that's how my relationship with flow grappling and flow grappling crew grew. You know, it was a better relationship because they're like, okay, so maybe we can talk to Mahammed. If we want the athletes to understand something, we can talk to this guy, and you know, they're probably gonna understand. So I went there for an interview, we talk and everything, and they like, oh man, we want to do something with you, just like Gary Vee does. We did at Nogueira Worlds, and I was like, great. I didn't find Nogueira Worlds, and then I was there to help. You know, Braulio does that kind of thing too. Drysdale too. They all former athletes, and I did it, man. It was great. You know, I had a nice interview with André Galvão, Cyborg, Bia Mesquita. You know, and then they decided to do it again. You know, and so we did a couple, and they for the Who's Number One. I was going there anyways to coach May. And they're like, man, since a lot of athletes don't speak English, can you do the translation and everything? I was like, sure. And it was very fun, man. It was fun to do that. But of course, I want to be there fighting, you know, but it was fun, man.
Shawn?
Okay, with that, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on social media and also your YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure. I have a YouTube channel in English called One Way Jiu-Jitsu. And my social media is Aly BJJ, ALY BJJ on Instagram. I don't use TikTok, not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, that's my thing. Instagram.
Your daughter's gonna make you use TikTok real soon.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Hey, Ali, I just want to say thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. I know it's the weekend and everybody's relaxing. But if you're ever in San Diego, give us a call. Shawn has a few gyms out here. You can come train that. You can go get some tacos and maybe a beer. I don't know if you drink, but tacos and a beer.
You know what? I'm going to throw one more thing out there. World Series of Grappling. What'd you do with that $20K, man? What did you do whenever you won all that money?
Oh, so I paid my lawyer, man, because I was applying for my green card.
Okay.
So I spent $30,000 on my green card.
Oh wow!
Oh my God! But it was worth it, you know. Like that's the dream and everything.
So how long do you have to wait before you're a U.S. citizen?
I don't know. I never. I like some people told me already, but I don't have the exact number, and I honestly don't care much. You know, my thing was, man, I want to be able to travel, do jiu-jitsu, win tournaments,
right,
and see my family if I have to see my family.
So that money came at a good time, though.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Good. I'm happy for you. You deserve it. You work really hard, man, and you do a lot for the community as well. And that's a big thing. Like giving back, something bigger than all of us understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time today, man. And I will see you soon. I love having talks with you all the time. You know, if you're ever here, you can reach out to me. You know, you can text me anytime if you need anything as well. As far as, I know we're going to do something here soon. Let's do something for the community soon. We'll get together and we'll figure something out as a group. Okay.
100%.
All right. All right. So for today's episode and all of our episodes, check us out at fivegrappling.com. And if you're on the podcast side, don't forget to check out iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And we are out of here. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you.
We would like to thank our sponsors, Five Grappling, 5365 Media, Five Forward Foundation, Five Superfoods and Shaved Ice Company, Hono BJJ, and the Fuji Mat Company. Without you, we are nothing. For this episode or any of our episodes, check us out at fivegrappling.com or follow us on social media at Five Grappling. If you're watching this video on YouTube or listening via podcast, don't forget to click the subscribe button below. Thank you for your support. Five Grappling. Compete, evolve. Real people, real stories, real life. Five brand.